with all the censorship and everything that's gone on and all the kind of lies and things that we've found out and other people are finding out just by seeing it, the amount of people waking up. I think the American people or the people of the world, really, I think they can kind of handle the truth. It'd be nice to see it actually come out without being hidden and censored. And, all the stuff that I got taken down for on all those channels, has all been proven to be, factual now. But do I get my accounts back?
All right, I'm here with Green Beard, otherwise known as Greg Harvey. Obvious why some call him Green Beard, not bird, Green Beard. And we're talking about the censorship and this Twitter takeover by Elon Musk, and just some thoughts that we have on it, just casual conversation. The reason Greg Harvey is here with me is because, Greg, you've been kind of a victim of censorship yourself, right?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I've been canceled just about everywhere.
And tell me like that journey, like how you just give us some background on how you got on to doing videos and then and then how you got kicked off.
Yeah. Well, when Periscope first came out, I really kind of felt the nudge to get
Sponsored
out
by
here.
Shasta, by the way. I realized that was in the thing. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
I felt the nudge, it's kind of like a leading by God, if you will, to get out there and start doing a broadcast. And I thought it was a terrible idea myself, being an introvert, but I stepped out, kind of fear and trembling, and I started doing a morning devotion. And then, Trump got in, and then started finding out some more stuff about what's kind of going on behind the scenes and politics and DC and things like that. And it actually threw me into depression for about 6 months. I'd been pouring out of my broadcast and not really filling myself back up. Then I was kind of like finding out the real state of the world. And, for about 6 months, I stopped broadcasting, and then I felt the nudge again. And this time, it was like, go back and I want you to talk about God and country. I didn't really know what that meant. So, I just started covering some things that were going on in the world, started bringing up some subjects that nobody else would, they really wanted to talk about. I had a life coach at the time, and, he's like telling me, he's like, Greg, the two things you're not supposed to talk about is politics and religion. And I'm like, well, that's what I'm supposed to talk about. So,
well, that's not what God told me.
yeah.
So when you very first started, what were your primary platforms?
Periscope, Twitter, and Facebook Live.
Okay. Did you ever mess around with YouTube?
I didn't start messing around with YouTube until really like, I don't know, mid 2019.
Okay. And so at first you were talking, I imagine about the forbidden subjects on those platforms, Facebook Live, Periscope, Twitter. And then, did you just start getting like warnings and then get kicked off, or how did that work?
Well, I got kind of suspended a couple times, but I really didn't start having trouble until after the pandemic, and especially after I started talking about hydroxychloroquine and, talking about the mask mandates and, the lockdown, speaking out against that. I'm Greg Harvey the 7th now over on Facebook. I've been taken down, but it's kind of like a grudge match. I'm going to keep going until I can't. So,
Do you feel like once you have that bullseye on your back, if you will, that they just are going to continue to like nitpick at you for whatever you try and talk about?
Yeah. Cause like every platform I'm off of now, it started out, getting little suspensions over on Facebook. Then Periscope, which I was like, I don't know, what was the highest level on Periscope? I don't know. It was like gold with 50 million hearts or something like that. And they started, censoring me over there, locked out my account. I lost two Periscope accounts, 3 Twitter accounts, 2 Instagram accounts. I'm Greg Harvey the 7th on Facebook now. Venmo, PayPal, MailChimp. I even got knocked off of CloudHub, which is a platform that I work with now. But I got knocked off of there. Media Matters came in and pressured IBM to take down all of our videos. And there was a dozen of us that they said, they tried to tell Jeff Brain, the CEO and founder of CloudHub, as long as these people don't ever broadcast or allowed on your platform again, we'll give you back your videos. And, thankfully he didn't bow down and kiss the ring. He went out and built us our own servers. So
that's awesome.
It's been a
So,
challenge.
yeah, yeah, it is. And it is discouraging because you put a lot of work into it and then you build followings and then you always have to be afraid that they're gonna take anything that would help you to survive,
Yeah.
away, and then you got to come up with something else. It's ridiculous. And most of these fact checks now more than ever are fact checking opinions. I mean, now we
Yes.
have fact checking articles about what Biden was thinking. Essentially, it's like, wait a minute, you don't know what he was thinking. You don't know
Yeah.
what he was trying to do. You're speculating just as much as the next person. But I think it's really woke a lot of people up because it's just gotten so completely absurd. I mean, even this poll, these national polls saying that most people favor this mask mandate, and then but you don't see anybody booing. You
No.
see, 1 in 10, if you're lucky, 1 in 4 people wearing them at airports if you're lucky. But we're told over here that that's not what the polls reflect. It's just insane. It's we're so done with the gaslighting. But back on subject, as far as like Twitter goes, what are your thoughts? What are your initial thoughts, and what are your maybe concerns moving forward?
Well, I mean, I'm keeping an eye on Elon anyway. I mean, everybody's all in love with him at the moment. But the thing you got to remember is he's a young globalist too. So, I definitely got to keep an eye on it. But, I think it's interesting, how all the libs and the just regular people in the mainstream media, they're just freaking out over it. The shrieking has been insane the last couple days.
It's just very hard to understand because I think when you're coming from the angle of being a free speech absolutist, it's just I cannot wrap my mind around people that are this obsessed with controlling what other people think or what they do or what they post. I mean,
Yeah.
an option has always been on any of these platforms to block or unfollow. And
Hmm.
for some reason, that's not good enough for these people. It's like, no, not only do I not want to follow you, not only do I want to block you, but I want to make sure that, as little people as possible can hear what you have to say and your opinion on things. It just doesn't make a bit of sense to me that this is, and then, I mean, how many people have you been seeing calling Elon Musk a fascist or an authoritarian? It's like,
Yeah.
what?
I
I mean,
know.
how do they not? He's literally saying he wants to bring more freedom back to the platform, and then they were like, "How dare you control people to have their free speech?"
Yeah.
It doesn't
Well,
make a bit of sense.
I think I think it goes way beyond like just like free speech, because I mean the thing is that there's millions and millions and millions of these little citizen journalists out there that are digging into stuff, and it's not like, oh, I really love the color blue, you can't say that, I mean it's like we're breaking down their narratives, we're destroying what they're trying to do, by putting it out there on social media. So they got to stop us, right? I mean, I think that's what they're in such a panic for is, Elon Musk is going to let Trump back on and let all the patriots back in, and it's just going to ruin the world. But I think it would probably make it a lot better, actually.
Well, they
You
keep
know?
on saying that, but I mean, there's been multiple reports now that says that Trump is uninterested in getting
Yeah.
back on the platform. So I don't know why they keep repeating that if he keeps on saying no, I don't even want back on. But
Mm.
that's just another thing that I guess that they can dig into.
Well, I mean, you also got to watch with the acquisition company and stuff too. Maybe they've got like a little backroom deal or something, or who knows if they're working together on that. I mean, that would be interesting to see the two combined. Or Elon said he wanted to bring the source code for Twitter open source, which Truth is built on Mastodon, which is open source. So yeah, it's a lot of different ways to look at what's going on right now.
Yeah, there's definitely a ton of different ways, but I think that I'm with you that I'm not quick to say that Elon Musk is going to be any kind of savior. I mean, I resist any of that where we're picking a man or woman to be any kind of a hero or savior because we only have one, and you and I
Right.
agree on that, Jesus. And it's always good to be skeptical of everyone at this point, no
Yeah.
matter who they say they are or what they're going to do. I'm going to not get too excited until I see if he's going to actually be able to follow through on what he wants to see done. But that being said, one of the greatest things about this announcement has been the exposure of the hypocrisy and just the ridiculousness of how much these people are resisting giving up control. I mean, I'm sure you've seen by now the MSNBC pundit talking about, if this billionaire can come in, then he can throttle people and he could affect elections. It's just like,
Yeah.
how
It's
does
like, really?
man not have any self-awareness whatsoever?
If you own all of Twitter or Facebook or what have you, you don't have to explain yourself. You don't even have to be transparent. You could secretly ban one party's candidate or all of its candidates, all of its nominees, or you could just secretly turn down the reach of their stuff and turn up the reach of something else, and the rest of us might not even find out about it till after the election. Elon Musk says this is all to help people because he is just a free speech, philosophically clear, open-minded helper.
What did you think when you saw that?
I think they're just so deep into the projections. I mean, they have to flip it all the time, what they're doing and what I don't want to say the good guys, bad guys, but I mean, it's like, they're constantly accusing us of doing the very things that they're doing, so I think it would affect the election in a way. I mean, if we get the actual information out there to people, it would definitely affect it. Not like what we just went through and everybody getting suspended, bringing up, Hunter's laptop or anything like that,
I mean, that's the thing. There's no self-awareness in the fact that this actually already happened under its current control. The fact that major stories were suppressed and censored, and all it took was some biased intelligence officials to sign a letter with no evidence that it came from Russia, and then they completely squashed a story, a legitimate one that, I mean, at least according now years later, to New York Times and Washington Post, I believe, are the ones that are now said that they have authenticated it. I mean, this has already happened, and there's no self-awareness. Now you have a man that's saying, and obviously we want to be skeptical, but he's saying he wants just freedom and fairness. And one of the other things that I liked that he said was, he's like, if 10% of the most extreme on the left and 10% of the most extreme on the right are both unhappy, then we're probably going to be in a good place,
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that's all fair and reasonable. So it's just unbelievable that, these people are having such hissy fit.
Yeah. But I mean, it's to be expected,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing is, I mean, how often did we have to hear, well, it's a private company. If you don't like it, go create your own or do your own. And now it's like, I mean, we can say that right back, but they won't receive it. Oh, you said it's a private company, so I guess we just required it. Go create your own,
I just hope that I hope that he has good intentions. That's all I can say at the end of the day. I mean, we've had so much mess around anyway. Yeah. And I think, with all the censorship and everything that's gone on and all the kind of lies and things that we've found out and other people are finding out just by seeing it, the amount of people waking up, I think the American people, or the people of the world, really, I think they can kind of handle the truth. It'd be nice to see it actually come out without being hidden and censored. And, all the stuff that I got taken down for on all those channels, has all been proven to be, factual now. But do I get my accounts back? No.
Yeah. So you currently are not on Twitter?
No. Actually, I had like a little side account. So, if a Twitter link came up, I could just go in there, but I didn't use it at all. And I had Dr. Artist on my broadcast like a week or so ago. And then I went to replay it in the afternoon and I just hit all my channels on and Twitter was included. I don't even use this account. Yes, permanently locked now.
Oh my goodness. So do you have any interest in getting back on under the new ownership, or are you just going to wait and see?
Kind of wait and see. I mean, it would be fun. There was a time when Twitter was a great time. I mean, it moved so fast. There were so many people out there. You got to make a lot of great connections. We were really involved in this information where everybody was out there, and I kind of miss those times. It's a little bit of a reunion over on Truth Social, to that extent, but it's still a little glitchy, a little buggy. Not everybody's allowed in there yet, so
Right.
we'll have to see.
Yeah. As far as the words of caution, I know that there was an article that I believe it was from Wall Street Journal, maybe. Oh no, it was a 2008 Bloomberg article that said that Elon Musk had been invited or inducted or whatever the word they used into the Young Global Leaders with the World Economic Forum. So that's a reason to be concerned. I know that he's been, I don't know if I want to say proponent, but he's obviously talked about some transhumanism stuff like microchips in the brain and things like that. I mean, I guess it depends on how you feel about his space exploration efforts, if that's a concern or not. To me, it's not. Some people have issue with that. But yeah, I mean, I think it's important to be cautious of him and cautious of the promises made, because who knows what's going on behind the scenes. I will say that he's already getting some pushback from the European Union has this digital.
Oh yeah.
You saw that too.
Yeah.
So they've already threatened fines if he doesn't abide by that. And it's something that Obama is already saying that we should model ourselves after. So it's just they don't quit.
Well, that tells you a lot right there. Obama and Hillary.
Yeah, they're losing their minds over this. It's just like it's unbelievable. I can't wrap my mind around it, because it's just like, as I say, with all these people who are so quick to be like, oh, this has consequences or whatever, then you're the very people that should be agreeing to debate. Like when Steve Kirsch offers $1 million, like if these ideas are so insane, take the $1 million, squash it. You're not doing yourself any favors by censoring everything that you don't agree with. Squash it, debate about it, but they're never willing to do that.
No, of course not.
They didn't do that with any of the major issues.
Nope. I don't expect them to start anytime soon either.
Yeah.
I do have to say, though, I am interested to see, where Starlink and all that fits in.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of rumblings and talking about like Internet 2.0 and, all this stuff, which I don't know. It's all interesting to me at this point, but, it would be nice if we could take control of the entire internet again. That would be.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it is crazy how things happen in waves, and it does seem like a wave of victories, if you will. I mean, even though some are delayed, I mean, we do have confirmation now, for what it's worth, that people were always right about the laptop and its authenticity, and more continues to come out about the interminglings of the Biden and the Bidens, their finances, father and son finances intermingling. More continues to come out about that. CNN Plus, buried in misery.
CNN what?
I know, CNN minus.
CNN minus, that's awesome.
Is now out. Elon does this takeover. Disney is facing some backlash for getting itself involved and trying to groom children. So it does seem like there's been this wave of I guess you could say victories, depending on what side of the aisle you're on. But I mean, but there's also that element, I think, that you and I have of discernment to be like, okay, all of our attention's right here, so what else is going on over here? We just have to be a little bit skeptical of what we're being distracted from as well.
Don't pay any attention to that Elon behind the curtain over there.
Don't pay attention to what they're trying to work out when we're all feeling like happy and gleeful about getting our voices back and getting our faces back on a plane. Do they give a little to take more? Who knows? It's just, nothing would surprise me at this point. We've seen so many crazy things happen.
Yeah. Well, no matter what we do, while we still have any kind of voice out there, we got to encourage everybody to show up in November. Everybody's got to vote.
Yes. And I mean, that's another thing that DeSantis has taken action on is buckling down on fraud. We're seeing more of these efforts, even if it's not fraud in the Mike Lindell sense, we'll say. More is coming out and just like the trafficking and the ways they're getting around the laws already on the books. So you can believe, the 2020 was the freest and fairest election. Go with that. But that doesn't mean that 2022, 2024 will be, even if you believe that 2020 was. So always a good idea.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with Dinesh's movie coming out too. The 2000 Mules.
Yeah, that's coming out. A lot of interesting things coming out up for debate and at least encourage discourse and discussion. Which
it's a heck of a it's a really bad time for them to lose control of their mouthpiece. The bullhorn, as X-22 would call it. It's a really rough time. All the stuff with Durham heating up.
That's another thing.
And
it's just like every day it seems like I read something else, also from alternative news, because the mainstream doesn't really cover it, but Durham continues to zero in on that situation. There's like 5 of them that have pleaded the 5th.
Yeah.
So then the Hillary Clinton campaign has contradicted themselves. It's like, first they're like, no, he wasn't legal representation of us when he gave this information. And then now that they don't want to talk or testify to Durham, they're like, that's attorney-client privilege. Wait a minute. You said that he wasn't legally representing you in that. So which is it? It's just like they bury themselves, but you just never know what they're going to get away with. Right.
Yeah. Well, hopefully not much more. It would like to see us, just put maximum pressure on us. And if Elon's doing a good thing and we're going to get, a huge bullhorn like Twitter back, that'd be a great time. Be a great time for it.
That would be great. Any other thoughts on censorship or people's reaction to it?
No, we're excited about it over at Cloud Hub, just for the fact that, we don't believe in censorship whatsoever. And we're pretty excited that, Elon's got this purchase going and looking forward to seeing what he does with it. And, we're something totally different than like a Twitter. We're more along the lines of a more meaningful Facebook, but people can organize and, they can have groups and, strategize. We did a lot of stuff with the Canadian truckers behind the scenes, allowing them to have a place where they could meet. And, so, I think this is, it's so important, number one, for people to be able to speak and plan and do what they need to do. But, we also don't need to have just like one platform or, it's been like the top 3 for so long. It's kind of nice to see, the Truth Social coming up, Cloud Hub coming up, Gab's been doing great things in the last year, even Telegram, but we need to keep it open and free, where people don't have to worry about self-censoring or, waking up in the morning to check and see, do I still have an account?
Yeah. I think that's also a danger here, though, is I have seen some people saying like this person or this person should now be banned. And I'm like, that is not the point. Like, I've always been proud of the fact that I'm willing to let anyone talk to me. I will talk to anyone. I want everybody to have a voice, no matter how strongly I might disagree with them. I'm not trying to silence you. You can say whatever you want. Let's bring our evidence. Let's bring, our interviews, all of them to the table. Let's not silence anyone. So I don't like when I can see that why people are frustrated by the attacks on their freedom of speech and being targeted, and now they want to turn it around. But that's not the way to go. That's not what I want. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's I don't think that's what anybody wants, really. And it's a big responsibility. I kind of have had Jack-like powers over Cloud Hub, and there's been plenty of times I've disagreed with somebody, but doesn't mean I'm going to go in there and censor them or suspend their account or block them or anything. It's always been something very cautious, and something that I've learned a lot from Jeff. Jeff Brain over at Cloud Hub about free speech and how you look at it and break it down. Well, what's really going on here? Are they just trolling? Are they frustrated? I think there's a lot of things to take into consideration. but we've never been one to censor anybody over there. And I can, from working in the back, I can see how easy it would be to do.
That is an interesting perspective. So, I mean, are you hopeful that we're going to learn more about how they made these decisions and how they applied them as far as when he tries to open up the algorithms, or do you think that will happen?
I hope so. It would be great to kind of see what was going on. I mean, we've all got our suspicions. I mean, I'm old enough to remember, when we were like, is there such thing as shadow banning? What exactly is that? So it'd be kind of nice to see, some of the formulas and some of the plans and what was coded back there. What were the keywords? I mean, how did this all work? I'm eager to see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it would be helpful to know. I mean, and at least come up with a plan on how to avoid something like this happening again. But again, I think that if we're going to stand on these principles of free speech, now is not the time to say like, all right, it's your turn now. Like, and who can we ban and who can we suppress now that the tables have turned? I mean, that is just totally the wrong way to go about it. I mean, most of the time, or a lot of the time that some people, and I get plenty of hate mail or, people criticizing me or disagreeing with me. And especially on this censorship issue, when I've had people that disagree with me, I always respond back, well, I'm here to support your free speech to say so, because I am like, because I hope that a little part of them will wake up when I say that too. Like, I'm not just fighting for me to say what I want or to allow other people to speak. I'm fighting for your right to insult me or have a problem with it as well. I mean,
correct.
It all goes,
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I mean, you and I mean, we've been through this thing, for a little while. I mean, we definitely know what it's like to have our work and our research and our posts and our thoughts. And, like I had my Facebook account longer than I've got my youngest son. So I lost all those memories and pictures and me becoming a Christian and all that stuff is all gone.
Wow.
So I mean, it's really, and again, working with Jeff, I mean, it's really gotten me where I see, how important it is to give somebody their voice, for them to be able to say whatever I don't have to agree with everything they say, unless you're causing bodily harm to somebody, you're making threats or anything like that. I may not like it, but I'm old enough to remember when I was taught in school or anywhere else, if you don't like something, just change the channel. If you don't like that person, just don't be around them. If you just walk away, do something else. But, I think we've also kind of wussified society a little bit too. Everybody's a little bit thinner skinned than maybe when we grew up. But I would never want to censor somebody, just because I don't like what they say.
Yeah. You just made a thought pop into my mind. I mean, that how real that is. I mean, I used to think it was just kind of like a silly thing when they would say like everyone gets an award, like everyone gets a trophy or whatever. I used to think that was just kind of a silly, like exaggerated thing people say. But then my son got first place in the science expose. And I was like, oh my goodness, you got first place. This is great, And so I go to the expose and I'm walking around looking at all of the displays and I'm seeing either a first or a second ribbon on every single one. I'm like, wait. So everyone got either a first place or a second place ribbon. I'm like, that almost kind of makes it worse, Like, I mean, not the fact that I'm not even saying for the first place people, like I'm saying for those that got second. Well, it's just like you were either up to par or you weren't, I mean, like, how is this making it any better, like to get first so that everyone gets a ribbon? Sorry, tangential, but
No. Everybody gets a trophy.
Can't believe that is a thing.
Well, I hadn't seen that. I coached Pee Wee League, T-ball, and Little League when my boys are growing up and stuff. And I had never seen anything like that, until I got there. I was like, wait, what do you mean everybody's getting a trophy? There's, oh, no. We don't want to make anybody feel bad or feel less than or anything. And it's like, I remember busting my butt when I was a kid, to get an award or, like, gosh, darn, I got to at least get a ribbon, It's, you had to work for something. I mean, don't even get me started, man. These kids today, I feel old every time I say that, but it's like they don't have to work for anything. Everything's just given to them. And if they don't get it, then they whine.
Yeah.
Hey, don't hurt their feelings on social because then they'll get you kicked off. So
Yeah. But
we
I mean,
brought it
think
back
about the
around.
irony of that too. The same people that would be the proponents of like everyone should get a ribbon, no one should have to feel bad, are the very
Yeah.
same people that are like, get all these other people that we don't like off,
Yeah.
It's never consistency. There's no
Yeah.
consistency. I mean, and that's, I think, why faith is so important to people like me and you, is because we have a guide stone. We have,
Yeah.
a goal of trying to be like Christ. And I mean, at least then you have something to go by that could give you hope of consistency, right?
Yeah.
But for them, since everything is led by feelings, it doesn't have to be consistent because it's all about them as individuals,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I love that. I mean, the word of God, I mean, it's the truth. It's a solid foundation. Everything else in this world is so shifting and shady. I mean, it's nice to have that to kind of lean on, it's kind of like a guidepost, like, okay, where am I at? How do I want to be? Do I really want to be like this? It's nice. I like it.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
really appreciate what you're doing, which is, do you do those daily devotions or
Mhm.
daily devotions on Clout Hub? And I love that you're doing that. And I mean, lately, even with I guess, maybe free speech opening up and maybe we're getting some more leeway to talk about these things they deemed we're not allowed to talk about.
I hope so.
Oddly enough, like my heart's desire has been more and more to, I want to shift my focus to talking about more things of God. I want to
Mhm.
talk to people that that have theories on the rapture or end times, or I just feel like that's my heart's desire right now, is that I'd like to shift kind of away from politics at this point. I mean,
Yeah.
of course, a little bit with things that are important, but yeah, I mean, I'm hoping to get into contact. Like, one of the books I have is Case for Christ, and
Yeah.
I really want to
Strobel.
see if I can get in contact with him. Or, Stephen Chris Chapman is one of my favorite singers. I love his story of overcoming, just, I don't know how he overcame that kind of grief, of losing
Yeah.
his daughter at the hands of his son. Like, how do you do that? But his music has always been such a healing and encouragement to me. So that's another person on my wish list. And I'm hoping God will open doors so that I can have more of these like spiritual conversations as opposed to so much of this political stuff,
Well, you know what to do, man. Ask him.
Yeah.
Ask him to open it up. I mean, I do, and I start on my broadcast, we do a little coffee talk. I say good morning to everybody. Then we do a devotion, and then we cover a little bit of news, or I do an interview, kind of working in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to do that. That's my next goal, is to get more on the heavenly topics.
Yeah.
Because
It'll wear you out.
at least that's unchanging. That's like something
Mhm.
that we know is like you said, a solid foundation. I mean, things can seem great one day, like, oh, Elon Musk is saving our freedom of speech, but that could change tomorrow, or he could not be who he says he is. So at
Yeah.
least with the word of God, it's solid, it's a firm foundation, it's unchanging, and it's a reminder that no matter what happens with all of this junk, that we
Yeah.
agree or disagree on, we have a Father that is the blessed controller of all things, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, everybody likes to say that, that saying all the time, it's going to be biblical. I mean, it really is. There's there's nothing new under the sun. I mean, we're fighting against some dark, evil forces in this world, and I mean, we're out here shining the light. And I look around, and I mean, next month it'll be 6 years I've been doing this. And I can't even tell you how many people have come to Christ over social media, over a broadcast, over the course of those last few years, when the world was just going to hell in a handbasket. Instead of just jumping in and joining the chaos, people are stepping out of it. They're waking up, and they're not only are they doing that, but they're coming back to God. Some of them hadn't been in a relationship, or maybe they're coming back, or whatever. But I mean, there's so many people in this fight that have not only picked up and found their own voice, but they found their way back to God, and they're calling his name out as we go. It's going to be biblical. It's going to be huge. God's raising up an army. That's for sure.
I love that. And it's encouraging, and it's encouragement that can be consistent no matter what is happening around us. Well, I love that. If people want to follow you, obviously they have to get in Clout Hub. I'm there, you're there. And how do they follow you and maybe participate in your daily devotions and things?
Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at Greg Harvey on Cloud Hub or dlive.tv/Greenbeard117. Yeah, I got a bunch of different names. And also over on Foxhole at Greenbeard.
Okay, awesome. Well, maybe if they want, they can start on Clout Hub, and then obviously you can redirect them to other places to find you.
Yeah.
But awesome. Yeah, we would love to get more people on Clout Hub. So no matter which platform you end up watching this on, make sure that you also support Clout Hub and build that up, because clearly they can take over the other. We might have Twitter back 1 second and then it's gone the next. So make sure that you're secure and connecting with like-minded people on Clout Hub, where you are allowed to disagree.
Yeah, definitely.
So there you go. All right. Well, thank you so much. And thank you for watching.
Yeah.